All right, so we're doing an open Q&A for today. Today is option expiry for the month of April. And we have a fair chunk of options, rolling off. Fair amount that are rolling off today. So I think, we're going to have a little bit of a kind of a under support, and then positions will start winding down as the session goes on. So, yeah. I hear you on that, Sasha. So I think we're gonna have like a mild day. I'm not expecting a gangster run in SPY or SPX today. With all that underpinning and supportive positions kind of rolling off, I think that's going to, obviously have an effect. The things that have been supporting the market all week, but SPY up on the week, very strong week. I mean, just in the month of April, so we had 2 strong bullish closes. We gapped up. So we're already up 16 points in the month of April. That's not bad. That's a strong start for SPY. And so I feel like, we may get some pullbacks in it, but I think pullbacks to 405 or 400, I'd be buying. I'd be buying on SPYs on that point. Q having a little bit more volatility. It's kind of playing out how we expected this week. We talked about Qs that we expect to break this, but then we expect to pull back from the highs. And that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing a little bit of pullback from the highs. I'd like to get, pull back to 338 or maybe 330 and then look to get long. But I'm bullish on Qs and bullish on SPYs right now. And so I'm not seeing anything that's materially changed in positioning or anything like that that would lead me to believe that things are going to be like changing rapidly in terms of, downside. We might see some volatility to the downside in the near future, but for right now, everything's supported. Bitcoin rolling back from the highs. I don't know why that red line is still there. Get out of here. Get out of here, red line. So Bitcoin has the chance to actually not close above this. Although, to be honest, I wouldn't think of it as a big deal. I would be looking to buy anything down to 57.8, and if 57.8 folds, then I'll wait for a dip to 53, 54, 55, 505 before we get long on Bitcoin again. But I'm a little not concerned, but I'm more of like, I would have liked to close above here. So we'll see how this ends the week. But I would have liked to close. This is a pretty strong rejection. I mean, you're opening, and most of this is rejection. And the Coinbase IPO hasn't worked out the way a lot of people thought it would. I don't know if that's because Coinbase was supposed to be priced at 250 when it was going live, but then there were so many delays that by the time it went live, it was like 380. I think the final price was 381 when it actually was available for trade. And so I think maybe Coinbase needs to settle. We're going to take a look at Coinbase, but the Coinbase IPO, it was down the first day. I think yesterday was mildly up. And so looking at Coinbase right now, your first week of open and it's a down candle. And so looking at this, it's not getting the lift off that I would have expected. So opens 375 roughly, goes all the way up to 429, rolls down to 310, weekly VWAP resistance. So now we have a kind of a line in the sand around 355 to 365 that is going to act as resistance. It's trying to build a floor here at 317, but it's going to need to start gaining some highs. Like, I would like to see this, next hourly close above 330 and continue to press. If it just sits on this here, then I would expect a retagging of the IPO day lows. And then from there, that's going to put pressure towards 300. So Coinbase not performing as well as many expected. And who knows, maybe just at the 300s, it's just too expensive. So it had great quarterly earnings, but if it's not able to hold it, then the market's feeling like, hey, you got to be a sub 300 stock. So that's kind of what I'm feeling on Coinbase right now. We just closed our put fly on Riot. So we had a put fly that's expiring today. And for those of you who don't know, so I'll show you what a put fly is. So last week, we felt like this. We felt like, let's see here. What were the strikes on the? What were the strikes on that? 51, 46, 41. Okay. So we felt like last week, heading into last week, that this kind of area here was going to act as some pretty strong resistance. And so we sold the 56, then bought double the amount of the 51, and then sold an equal amount of the 46. And so we felt like Riot was going to, if it was going to pop, it was going to fade a good portion of it, and it did. It popped in an overnight session, but then was selling right on the open. And so we just closed it out right around here. So we had the 56, 51, 46. And so I probably could have closed it out yesterday towards there and maybe gotten a little bit more out of it, but we still made a 260 credit on that one there. $2.60 in terms of option language. And so for those of you who don't know options, if you make like $5 credit, it's $5 times 100 because there's 100 shares for each option contract times the number of contracts. So if it's one option contract and I made $2.60 credit, that'd be a $260 credit. If it's 10 option contracts, that's 2,600 credit. If it's 100 option contracts, that's 26,000 credit. So that's how that works out. But yeah, this one rolled over exactly as the way we did. I think we probably could have done, instead of maybe a put fly, we could have considered a bear put spread. Payouts are not as high on that, but we would have had a lot more directional favorability on this one here. So I think that would probably be the only adjustment on that one. We're still long HD. We have the 300 calls, I think. Yeah, we have the 300 calls. So we have the 300, and we also bought the underlying at 302. Just an incredibly strong, I mean, this thing just keeps going. And we expected that was going to have a good run, but I didn't expect it to run $25 in a matter of, what is that, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? So yeah, we bought on the break of this week here, and 1, 2, 3 weeks, it's already up 10% in 3 weeks. So, or almost 10%. That's a very strong run. And so I don't see any signs of it abating right now. I would like to add on pullbacks. Let's see. Let me take a look at some. Where would I want to add on pullbacks? Yeah, this ain't bad. It's not bad. I think anywhere between here and here, I think I would add on pullbacks to HD. I just realized I don't have my trusty pen. So yeah, I think I can't look for the 300 anymore. We're not getting to the 300. I just don't see us getting to 300. Shoot, I'd be happy if we even made it to 315.90, which I don't think is going to happen. At least for right now. At least for the next week, I don't see HD getting back to 315.94. So I think I would probably add around 319, maybe 321. The weekly VWAP should trail up to them by the end of this week. If we close strong, the weekly VWAP should trail up. So 321 would probably be first buy point, and then 319.25 would be second, and then add some more at 319.94. But bullish on this. You're saying screen is a little blurry? I don't see anybody else. Is anybody else having that? Is anybody else saying? I'm seeing it's clear on both my ends. Nobody else is saying it. Juxon's saying nope, looks good to me. Think it's you, Justin. Just log out and log back in. If you're still having it, log out and log back in. Saying all good. Okay. Yeah, that's what I recommend. Just try and log back in. Anything else that I want to check out before we do open Q&A? Oh, we haven't checked out our Benzinga movers for the day. So, ooh, hello. What do we have here? What do we have here? Oh. Should trend higher after the company announced it signed a definitive merger agreement with SharpLink. Okay. So it rips and is already faded. It's a boatload of shares, though. 41 million. Average is 265. Okay. It's already faded most of that. 15.5 E-Bon. Plug! I haven't traded you in forever. I haven't traded you in for since last year. I think maybe early this year I traded Plug. But that's it. Any other big gappers? No other big gappers. Lattice Semiconductor. 1.5 million. That looks a little shaky. Let's just take a look at that. LSCC. Oh, DraftKings. It will become an official sports betting partner of the NFL to extend its current. Wow. Okay. Maybe we should consider. Maybe we should consider looking at DraftKings. Okay, let's take a look at DraftKings real quick. Let's take a look. Okay, so being that we have option expiry today, okay, open interest is rolling off is a decent chunk, about a third, roughly. I feel like DraftKings could roll over a little bit. Let's take a look at the weekly real quick. And let's maximize that. 4 weeks of selling. I'm assuming this week's going to close down. So 4 weeks of selling. We are getting dip buyers. Boom, 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 boom. Like anywhere between 52 and 60, we're getting dip buyers. But the lows are just trailing down. And so, let's see, where would be my next? I think I'd be an interested party at 55. I think if we can get down to 55, I'd look to buy. I have an alert right around there, just above that. But I think 55 might be an interesting buy point. I'd be okay with adding a position at 55. Let's see what it looks like on the intraday charts. 5 minutes, or not 5, 1 hour. Okay, so we're still struggling with the bottom of this channel. We do have a corrective structure here at the bottom of this most recent move. So we had a pretty consistent selling here. A little bit of a rally, false break. Yeah, I mean, it quickly comes back down in the overnight session, and then it can't produce the same highs. And then impulsive selling with corrective structure bond. Yeah, it's trying to stabilize, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. So it'll be interesting to see how it handles this test back down here again. But short term I'm bearish, medium term I'm bullish on it. I'd like to see this pull back to not much lower. Yeah, I'd like to see that pull back to 55. Between 56 and 55. And I think that'd probably be a decent location to get long. That's what I'm looking at. At least for me, that's what I'm looking at. So, okay, so we covered the DraftKings note there. Where was that? Oh, that was that. Okay. So DKNG, we covered that. Any others we want to look at here? LSCC. Let's look at LSCC. And then we'll check out EBON. LSCC. Lattice Semiconductor. Semiconductors is kind of a hot topic right now. Okay, so we're above average volume, average 10-day volume. We're at 1.7 million. Average 10-day is 958K. We did clear this recent structure. That's positive. Okay, I like pullbacks. I like pullbacks to 50. I like pullbacks to 50. Let's take a look at what it looks like. Wow, it's a pretty big rip. So we got a breakout yesterday, and then overnight markets just ripped. What was the news on Lattice? No news. Maybe some news. What news? Nothing. To join the S&P midcap earlier this week. Okay, that's constructive. Okay. Yeah, I like pullbacks to 50 if I can get them. I'm not sure we're gonna get them, and I know I see some questions come in, and I'll get to them in just a second here. Yeah, I'm not sure we're gonna get to 50. I might. Okay, so I'll have an alert for 51.33. I might start buying around there and then save more of the position sizing as we get lower and lower 50. I think we'll see some pullback here. But this looks pretty well supported. Yeah, and because we just cleared out, is this the all-time highs? This is the all-time highs. And there was some stabilization around the prior all-time highs. So, yeah, so prior all-time highs was around here. And then look where this recent stabilization period was. It was all right there. Never seen this stock before. Okay. And earnings is not till May 3rd, so you have a couple weeks to roll with it. So, yeah, I like this one. I think it's a good play. I'm going to look for a pullback on this one here. I'll keep an eye on weekly VWAP, which is this orange line right here. So I'll keep an eye on that. It's not necessarily a gangster mover on a day-to-day basis. I mean, its average volume is 958K. So, yeah, this isn't like necessarily a huge ripper on a day-to-day basis. But you should be able to get, if you catch a good swing trade, you should be able to get, several dollars on a weekly move. So, yeah, I'll look for a pullback on this one. I like this one. Okay. All right, let's do some open Q&A. Yasniel, good to see you. Staring at Dogecoin has my eyes all blurry. All right, let's take the plunge and see what's up with Doge. Let's do 36. I have to confess, I was tempted to throw something on Doge. I was tempted. I'd have to do it through Robinhood though, because Thinkorswim doesn't have crypto on it. I would like if they had crypto directly, but I thought about buying Doge on the break of this 8 cents. I was like, let's just put in like $10,000, Let's just see, what happens. So, yeah, it would be about 40,000 now. I'm kind of shocked at this, to be honest. The thing about it is that I don't like... It's such a speculative instrument. I feel like if I was to get involved in it, I'd be at the casino. Like, Lattice Semiconductor, that's a real company. The guy who founded Dogecoin did it as kind of like a joke, so to say. And he sold all his Doge. And so, I feel like I would be like just going to the casino if I got involved in Doge. Like, it's not a coin, it's not a crypto coin that's meant to be taken seriously. It's just this speculative thing that's going on right now. This is pretty parabolic too. Like, this is pretty parabolic. So this thing could have a pretty big collapse when it does. I'm not sure when it is. It's just, I just don't like the casino-like nature on this. Semiconductor stocks, they're legitimate companies and things like that. DraftKings, Home Depot, Coinbase, all those things. I feel like that's okay. But this, I'm just going to let this one roll off. And so that'd be that. A lot of people are saying, it's painful to watch. There's always going to be instruments. There will always be instruments that are going to have these speculative furors, and they're going to rip. And you're going to look at them and be like, oh my God, I could have made this much money in this and this and this. And I feel like I've seen millions of those over the years, and I'd rather just trade the ones that, are within my trading plan than just worry about the money lost or whatever. I could be sweating the fact like, I could have, I was planning on just throwing like 10K into this and it could be 40K now, but you can't really speculate on that or worry about that. You just got to focus on the trades that are within your trading plan and let the ones go. If they're not within your trading plan, don't worry about it. So yeah, I think this is probably going to hit some sort of, maybe 50 cents. And I think we're going to see a pretty sharp pullback in it. It's very parabolic. It's very, very moonshotty, so to say. All right, so let's look at some open Q&A here. IOST. IOST. USDT. Okay, thank you for getting me the exact symbol. I appreciate that, Sashin. On one day, are you bullish or bearish on that, Sashin? So let me know if you are bullish or bearish, and then. So remember, on the call out, give me the symbol, time frame, 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish. You got me 2. You got me 2 or 3. So you get some credit. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure many cryptos went crazy. I'm not touching Ripple either because they're under federal investigation. I know they got like a little bit of a reprieve, but yeah, I still feel like Ripple is not something I want to touch. All right, so Sashin, I'll wait for your 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish. Looks like Ali retracted a message. So if you want to repost, okay, there we go. So who's the next one on the list? All right, NZD CAD. All right, let's take a look. NZD CAD, 1 hour bearish. Okay, 1 hour bearish. Let me start with weekly real quick. Just kind of see what's going on with the higher time frame. Okay, we're kind of at like a decent interior level. It's not gangster. You got this, got a little bit of this here. So you got some. To me, the better level is here, is like 9,200. That's like here is a much better level. I like this little level better because you're in a very wide range. So think about it like this is your major. Kiwi Cat is undervalued here. It's overvalued here. Like we've only spent a handful of weeks below this level, and we've only spent a handful of weeks above this level, going all the way back 2 years, 3 years. So if we go back 3 years, we have literally spent 5-6 weeks above 92.24, and we've only spent maybe 5 to 6 weeks below 83 in the last 3 years. So I think those are kind of your major lines in the sand. Right now, this is kind of an interior level. So I'm not totally as crazy about it. I'd rather be short. Let me set an alert for like 91.7. And so just in case it gets to these areas, we'll look to get long and short at that. Okay, so now let's look at some intraday time frame. Let's look at 1 hour, see what's going on. Okay, short term, just based on this. So from, what is it, the 15th, since yesterday? So the rally up to 9 failed pretty, I mean, it's, yeah, you can see the kind of false break. Okay, so you have like a potential breakout here, breakout, an immediate false break with very consistent selling, corrective structure here, more impulsive selling. It's trying to stabilize here. It needs to clear this. If it can clear that, then it's going to have a lot more downside. If it can't clear that, then it's going to try and reattack up there. So, yeah, you need to clear like 89.33, 89.30. Yeah, you need to clear 89.33. There's a fair amount of meat between, a little bit of meat here, between 89.28 and 89.46. If it can clear this to the downside, then I think there's a lot more room for this to run. So that's my thoughts on it right now. Yeah. Okay. Could you please check IOST, USD? So you got to give me Yashin or Sashin Umarami. You got to give me a 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish. Oh, you said bullish. Okay, you did give it to me. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. My bad. I missed that. IOST. There we go. USDTD. Okay. Let's go with, actually, I just realized this one. Let's go with Binance. Okay, bullish. Yeah, structure's pretty bullish. It does have a tendency to sell some of the intra-week rips. We can see that. So intra-week rip, fade some of it. Intra-week rip, fade some of it. Fade some of it. Fades a big chunk of it. So to me, I'd like to be long somewhere between, what is that, 0.057 and probably 0.62. That would be my range, 0.57 to 0.62. But yeah, hard not to be bullish on this. It's hard not to be bullish on this. What is this? IOST tether to the USD. Okay. I have no idea what that is. But yeah, hard not to be bullish on this. Yeah, I would say anywhere from 57 or 0.57 to 0.63. So I like it. I like it. That's a good structure, good spot. Yeah, so okay, so we're here. We're within this like very contracted range for a long period of time. And then we get the breakout on really good volume. That's a good sign. Impulsive, corrective, extension, a little bit of pullback. Yeah, this is all very bullish. This is all very, very bullish. I don't see anything right now that's suggesting that we should have a major reversal. So I like this. I like this one. Yeah, between 0.57 and 0.62. That's what I'm looking on that one. Yosneil, if you want me to look at an instrument time frame, 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish. So with Netflix, I need the time frame, and then I need the 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish. Okay, next on the list, Chiliz USDT. Wow. Okay. I have no idea what this is. CHZ. Okay, I'm going to roll with this. It's crazy how many of these things there are coming out now. I mean, it's not surprising that crypto is exploding considering Coinbase and everything like that going live. It's just getting so much more attention right now. Bullish 1 hour, please. Okay, long term, the weekly chart's very good. So we had a big rip, and then you see that this is a corrected pullback into VWAP. But you can also see every one of these dips on the week is bought. So somebody's buying, even though it's going down, people are buying these dips. Stabilizes and a rip. So, yeah, hard not to be bullish on this one here. Okay, so let's take a look at the 1 hour, which you wanted to look at. I think that's what you wanted. Yeah, 1 hour. This is not, it doesn't hold its pullback or its breakouts. Like you look at almost every single breakout is faded. You know, breakout, fade, back to value. Breakout, fade, back to value. Breakout, fade. So I would not be trading the breakouts on this one. I would be playing dips on this one here. I like 57 cents as one potential option. Like that would be the first location here. Yeah, I'd want to fade into that. Because you got this. You got a little bit mid here. Yeah, I like to fade in 57, 58 cents. And then I look for a rip up to here. And then ideally an extension, if you can get it. But this tends to rip and fade, rip and fade. And you have a good, you have the breakout on good volume. Yeah. Yeah. Buy pullbacks would be, this is how I would play it. I would buy pullbacks on this one. That's how I'm looking on that one. Yeah. Yeah, another good spot. Mr. Pro Forex. Hello, Chris. Hello to you. Good to see you. Ali, I think we covered it. So I think, yeah, we covered that. Let's see here. Justin Goodman, you are up next. My good lad. AFMD. Affimed. Oh, okay. Is this biotech? Okay. AFMD. Let's take a look. Ooh. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. There's a boatload of options rolling off today. Yeah, a boatload. Well, I mean, it's not a whole lot of options activity on this stock, but a lot of it is rolling off today. Yeah, I think it's going to struggle. Yeah, I don't think we're going to break this on the end of the day. I would look for a little bit of a pullback. So, what time frame did you want to look at? Daily. Okay, I'm going to use the weekly. So this kind of has a similar thing. It can rip and then fade back to value, rip and fade back to value, rip and fade back to value. So where would I want to consider getting long? I'd like 741 or 75. That's not bad. That's not bad. Could we see a deeper pullback in this one here? So this is kind of going nowhere again for a while. We get the breakout on good volume. Now we get a whole new volume. I don't want to say profile because it's another term, but this kind of structure in the volume. Now it's raised a holding level. So it's attracting a lot more interest as a stock. And then on this breakout, very strong surge in volume. What was the news? There's probably some sort of news catalyst. Let's take a look and roll. EPS, 50 euros, 50 cent euros. Capital investment reports in 5.5 stake. Okay. Okay. So that's, yeah, they took a stake in it. They might know something. They may not. I mean, clearly they know something because they wouldn't be investing a 5.5% stake into it. So, and when did that happen? On the 15th. Okay. So let's take a look at 5. Okay, so my two levels are 750 and 522 for pullbacks. So let's look at, just want to check out some, let's check out some 1 hour. Short term, I think it's probably going to roll over. I think we'll probably roll over to like 8.6 area, 8.5. Let's set some alerts on this area. I like a little bit more of a pullback. I'd like 7.5 would probably be my first buy area. And then 522, I'd add a little more. So 9th was a big surge pre-market. AF. Let's see if any news came out on the 9th. Company announced initial. Okay, so it had a news thing on the 9th, and then somebody, Ridgeback Capital, took a stake in it. So the company announced initial clinical data from an investing. Okay. All right, so it had a positive news catalyst. Then it starts to attract more attention. Then somebody takes a stake in it. More on the 12th. Okay, yeah, I like this one. I think it's a good spot. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, it's not bad, Justin. I like this one. I'll take a look at this one on pullbacks for sure. Not bad. Very good spot. I like this. Okay, Jeffrey Bankers. Good to see you. How can we scan for decently sized multi-day ranges to find intraday trading opportunities for something? I have no idea. You just have to use your brain. How can we scan for decently sized multi-day ranges? Yeah, you'd have to create some sort of algorithm, in PineScript and TradingView to be able to do that. No idea. I don't scan for that. I scan for directional movers. Yeah, I scan for intraday. I scan for directional movers for that day, for that week, because to me, that tells me where there's a large amount of institutional interest. Whatever has huge volume, whatever is surging, that has a lot of institutional interest. And I generally want to trade that directionally. To look for something that is stuck within a range, by default, to do that, it's not generating massive amounts of institutional interest. I mean, depending on how wide the range is, but you'd have to make that formula based on like volatility, and that instrument, volatility is elastic. So I think it's one of those things that conceptually makes sense, but yeah, you're just going to have to use your pattern recognition for that. Yeah. So I don't know. I honestly do not know of a way to do that. Okay, so we've covered that. Netflix, Yosno wants to look at 5 minutes. Okay. You want to trade Netflix on a 5 minute on a Friday? Okay. Let me check out. I have an alert level on Netflix. I do want to buy Netflix, but on a pullback. Okay, roughly a third of options are rolling off today. So it's a decent chunk, and this is a highly traded stock. Yeah, I think we're going to have resistance at 550. We talked about this before because you got this range from here. Let me draw you like a little meat. There we go. So we got that as kind of like our overall resistance. And while I think Netflix is going to break it this year, probably within this quarter, I think it's going to break it within this quarter. Keep in mind, it has been stuck in here since July. Wow. I can imagine traders have got to be frustrated on this one here because, especially dealers, this thing has just been stuck between $480 and $570, $90 range for maybe $100 range for quite a while. And so, yeah. So I have an alert, as you can see it right here. I'd like to buy dips. I'd like to buy dips in Netflix. Not only will I go along the stock, I'd probably throw in some options as well. You know, so maybe bull call spread, maybe a call fly on this one here. But that's kind of what I'm thinking on Netflix. You know, I'm not seeing anything yet that's, I mean, it's held here before, it's holding here right now. If it could stabilize, like if it could stabilize this and just kind of stay pinned up here, then I think that would be more of a chance, like hinting, hey, there's an increased probability we're going to try and break out because we're just holding here. All the other times it got in here is sold off. It took a little bit, but it didn't. I mean, that's a pretty wide, and it's selling consistently here. Whereas this time, if it could stay up here, just like, then it's kind of pinning. It's finding combination of, you know, large institutions, option players that are saying, hey, we're going to hold this line of sight. We're going to buy it well above this 500, you know, this 500 area support, which is like the first layer. And then you go all the way down to here. So that would indicate that there's a greater chance for a breakout. If we start to see that, then I can see a potential push for a breakout. But we're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. So I feel like, yeah, Netflix is a buy on dips, or wait for the structure to break out. But I like Netflix, not just as a product, but as a stock. Sorry. Something in the eye. Okay, how are we doing on time? 7:30. I could probably go for about 10 more minutes. Foo-hoo! Hi, Chris. Do you have a fund where you trade your money? Just my money. I do not have a fund where I trade other people's money. The regulatory requirements are just not interesting to me. You know, and think about it like this. I actually have a brother-in-law who wants to set up a fund for me to trade. You know, so I'd have to get like regulated and licensed here in the US and all and do that. I just don't have any interest in doing that. But let's say they say, hey, I got $10 million. Okay. So let's say I can trade their cap. Let's say they're like, hey, you can trade it any way you want. We're not going to bother you. You can do whatever the F you want. And I'm like, okay. And let's say I do a 50% return on capital for the year. Okay, so it's 10 million. I made 50% return. I made 5 million on that 10 million. Okay, what am I going to get out of that? I'm going to get my 20% performance fee. So I'll get $1 million out of that. But I'm going to get $1 million on that. I'm going to have to pay taxes on that. So roughly, you know, I'm walking with $750,000 before, you know, after taxes. But then I have the regulatory requirements. I have all the legal things I have to do that. Take off another $50,000 to $100,000 just in all the regulatory requirements. And what do I end up with from trading that 10 million and making 50% return? I walk with $600K. Okay, it's not bad, but I can do that on my own with my own capital. No regulatory requirements, no setting up a fund, none of that stuff. Nobody like, you know, hey, you know, what about this trade? What about this trade? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this like that? None of that. So, you know, it would have to be a pretty large amount for me to be interested. Like, it would have to be like in the $30 million range. They would have to come to me and be like, hey, we got 30 million, and it's going to have to be one of those, like, you can do whatever the F you want as long as you do not violate max risk per trade of this amount and max risk per month. We won't say a word to you. If they came to me with that conditions, 30 million US dollars, and those conditions, and they wrote it up, and they set up all the structure, and I had to have very little regulatory requirements, then I do it. Otherwise, there's no point in it. I get to keep all my own capital. I can do that on my own. So, yeah. Maybe when I retire from public life, like Second Skies, which is not for a while. But maybe when I retire from the public trading scene, maybe I'll open up like a eToro account or something like that. And then everybody can trade along, and I'll just set a minimum requirement. And I think that might be worth it if I could get, 50, 100,000 followers to copy my trades. Then it'd be worth it. But otherwise, there's no point in it. I can just make the money trading my own capital. So it's not worth it for me. Norman Chidembo, pound bullish. You got to give me the time frame. So anybody listing a call out instrument symbol. So you give me the symbol, time frame, 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish. Wallball, good to see you, everyone. God bless you as well. I really wanted to play Target. I know Target's just running. It is just running. It is giving nothing. I mean, I could take shallow dips, but I don't want to take shallow dips in Target. So, in the essays, but I was a little leery with my exposures. Okay, so you had a lot of exposure. You didn't want to put too much margin. Totally understand. But I want to see some rallying. I think it's strong. Yeah, it's hard not to. How do you not be bullish on Target? They got so many things going for it right now. So many things going for it. They have great sales numbers. They've really adapted to like online sales, deliveries, and things like that. They're doing a lot of things right. They are just doing a lot of things right. I've been trying to get in Target for a while, but I just haven't found the pullback levels to do that. So let's look at weekly. That was weekly. Yeah, I might have to raise my buy point. I don't think I'm getting a 195. I think 195 at this point is just wishful. I might get lucky and get a 200. If I get a 200, oh yes. Definitely do something like that. But looking at this 1 hour structure, which is pretty strong, I think this like 206 might be a fine pullback for me. If we can get to weekly VWAP, okay. So I think I'll probably start some shallow positioning between 205 and 206. And then I don't want to say hope, but secretly ask the universe for a bigger dip to like 201.5. Maybe I will make an offering to the trading gods to get a pullback to 201.56. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I like a deer pullback, but I'm at this point, I was kind of hoping this would stabilize and then pull back a little bit. We just didn't get it. Even this little dip here, it just didn't even make it to enough. So I feel like gotta wait for a little bit of a pullback now at this point. But it's broken out of it. Hard not to be bullish on Target. So I'll buy underlying, and then I think I'll throw in either a bull call spread for later in the year or a ratio spread. So we're going to be talking about ratio spreads this weekend for those of you that are in the options bootcamp. Covering the ratio spread and fly strategies. So 2 more strategies for the option bootcamp members. So yeah, that's something on this one, Wallball. Yeah. Yeah, very good spot. Hard not to like Target. Latoya Nesta, Zoom, bullish, 15 and 5 minute. Okay, so 2 time frames. We'll just pick one. Let's see what's going on with Zoom. We shorted Zoom recently, made a little bit of money on that. Okay, there's a fair amount of options rolling off today because we have a fair amount of open interest that's expiring today. Okay. Looking at, I feel like it's trying to stabilize here, but we have some selling, clear selling pressure. So it's, what's interesting is that we had the all-time highs, very counter-trend impulsive sell-off, more selling, but then it's just kind of stuck here. So this corrective structure being at the bottom, if this structure continues to kind of like slim down towards the bottom, then I would expect a breakout. And then I would look, yeah, I'd probably look for like, I'd look for 283, 285 to get long. I would definitely look for that if we got that far down. I think at that point, Zoom becomes a pretty good value. I mean, keep in mind, Zoom was 588. So that would be a 50% drop. I think some value players are going to be like, that's cheap, let's buy it. The other scenario is that it continues to stabilize here and then starts to build like slightly higher highs off of this. So it builds a little strength. If that's the case, then I would think then that would be the scenario I think, okay, now there's this selling pressure is being absorbed. And so we're getting absorption and potential accumulation here. So it's just trying, but, you know, dip buying, dip buying, dip buying, dip buying, dip buying. It's a set of lower highs, but now we're getting above that. So if we can get some weekly ranges where they extend slightly higher, and then the lows either go straight or start to build, then I think this selling pressure is being absorbed and Zoom has the potential for a rally. So right now it's at 329. I wouldn't touch it as a long until maybe 315. You wanted to look at some intraday time frames, so let's just try a 1 hour. See, it was very consistent until this most recent rip. So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Rip breaks that. So that's a transition. That's one transition there. It's not holding it, but there was a transition there. So, you know, does it make it back to 315 area and find some dip buyers? If it can do that and make, like, if it can pull back here, hit that bounce, and then get to this same height or close to that, then you're building a slightly higher framework. If it fails when it gets here, then you really have to watch this kind of zone right here. And if it holds and gets some strong buying off it, then there's some value buys there. And how much it bounces off those lows. Like if we make it to 306 and the bounce is weaker, then there's more downside pressure still manifesting in Zoom. But if we make it down here and then it bounces all the way back up, then it's extending the range to go from, say, 306 to 345, that's saying, hey, we're able to press a little bit higher into the territory. So that would be constructive. So I don't like current levels. I wouldn't want to be long or short at current levels. If I was to get long, I think my first location would be here. I'm not crazy about getting long here. I'd want to like be watching time and sales, see the level 2, see like a strong buyer come in at 315. But I really like getting long in this zone here. And so, yeah, current levels are nowhere. It's just not where I want to be right now. I don't like the current levels for getting long or short. And so wait for a little bit more of a dip, maybe a bigger dip, and see how it builds from there. But Zoom has some potential on both sides of the market. It's very interesting. It's, you know, some trades are like Target's clearly bullish, Home Depot clearly bullish, LSCC clearly bullish. Zoom has both sides, like legit trades on both sides. And so I feel like, okay, that the market still isn't really sure. There's really no major imbalance in the order flow right now. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I don't have it, so wait to the wider levels. Yeah. Hopefully I answer your question, Latoya. Jeremy Doucet. Still in Target. You're welcome, Latoya. You sold a put spread. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, being that it's so bullish, put spreads are not my preferred. Generally, when I want to do a put spread, I want it to be neutral or slightly positive, slightly bullish. When it's really strong bullish, I want to switch my options gearing to take advantage of that direction. Because if I am bullish on it, then I'm going to capture more upside if I'm long a call spread versus being short a put spread. Put spreads, when the market is bullish, they'll give you a credit, but the R to R ratios are not going to be that great. You'll often find that, maybe you make $1 credit, but it could be like $3 downside if it sells off. I don't think Target's going to sell off, but that's really all you're going to capture. Whereas call spreads will capture that directional move and give you more profit. So I reserve selling put spreads for when the market's neutral or slightly bullish. If it's strongly bullish, then I recommend switching to the long side, like getting long options. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Okay, he's back. Norman's back with a more concrete call out. Pound dollar for bullish 4 hour. So let's roll to the 4. Let's see what's going on the weekly. Yeah. Okay, so you got this. It's going to need to clear this. But we do see some stabilization here in the weekly. So let's take a look at that on the 4 hour that you wanted to look at. Yeah, this is I feel like it's transitioning or wanting to transition. So it's within this channel, it's very constructive, but then we almost make the exact same identical low. Instead of making a new low, we start going sideways, and then we're getting a little bit of lift off. So I don't know if it's going to rip yet, but there is some transition within the price action here. And that's constructive. So I'd like to see how it reacts to this level. Maybe we get a higher low and then kind of break out of it. But I'm seeing the transitions here, and it's constructive, and I think it's wanting to turn. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking on pound dollar. IWM. We did an option play on that yesterday, an iron butterfly. 223 bullish. We're in the middle of a range. We're in the middle of a range. I see what you're thinking, but we're in the middle of a range, and volatility has contracted massively on IWM. You can even see volume is slowly starting to trail down. So I'm not as constructive. If I was going to be long on IWM, I'd rather wait for a lower end of this range. That's kind of what I'm thinking on that. The middle of the range just doesn't really meet my fancy on this one here. We have about a third of option open interest rolling out today. So, yeah, doesn't quite meet my fancy. I'd wait for a little bit bigger of a dip before we consider longs on IWM. Yeah. As long as you're inside the middle of this range, I would avoid this interior. I would avoid a lot of this right now. Because it's going to take a while just to move your 5, 6, 7 points. And you have relatively balance in the order flow, so it's not going to push heavy in one direction or another, so you're going to have to wait longer. You're going to be fighting a relatively equal amount of players on the other side of the market. Things get very different when you start to get here. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. That's why we took an iron butterfly on this one here. We had the 220s and then 234s and the 206s. So the profit, the P&L is very much like this. So there's your strike price going up, going down. Here's your profit and loss. And it looks pretty much like this. This is your break-even line. It looks very much like this. And this range right here is like, I think my break-even strike is like 210. And my other break-even strike is like 229, 227, 229, maybe 230. So those are my break-even points. So I wanted to close between 210 and 230. And that's for the, I think it's only like a couple weeks out, like beginning of May expiry. So yeah. So if this thing sits within that range between now and the beginning of May, then I keep the full credit on this one, which is pretty good credit actually. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this one here, Oswaldo. This might be answering the boot camp when all these options are expiring. Yes. Yeah, always. Yeah. But let's talk about that in the options bootcamp. Corona asked her, should I put 100 CAD on Ethereum? So, Corona, I don't give recommendations on how you should trade something per se. If you want me to look at Ethereum, I asked for 3 things. Give me the symbol instrument, time frame, and 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish on it. You have to make your own trading decisions within your own trading plan. I give my analysis and say, hey, if I'm going to trade this, here's where I would buy, or here's where I would sell, or here's where I would trade this. If you want me to do that, no problem. Just give me the symbol, time frame, 1 cent subscription, bullish or bearish, and I will do a call out. Shoot, I got 15 minutes of my private member webinar, so I will do 5 more minutes and then we'll wrap this up. Mara, sure. What's happening with Mara? Mara, pretty big sell-off. Pretty big sell-off. You wanted to look at what 1 hour chart? That's this one here. We were expecting a pretty big roll-off on Mara because, over half of the open interest was expiring today. There's a lot of options activity in Mara. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. Impulsive, corrective pullback, which we talked about with the private members. Impulsive, corrective, impulsive. Counter trade, impulsive buying. It seems like it's starting to run into some value buyers here. You still have this kind of pressure right now. But yeah. So this one, okay, here's your swing low. Makes a new low. Mild pullback. Makes a shallow low. Shallow new low. And now it's ripping back. So it's starting to build some interest. There's like a potential bid showing up around 38.71, maybe it's close to 40, right around 39. Does this location make sense to me from a price action context? It's not bad. It doesn't totally make sense to me, but it doesn't really matter. Wherever price action shows its hand and the order flow shows its hand is where that is. So I'd like to see some stabilization here. I'd like to see it kind of, show a sideways movement, and that would tell me that some of the selling pressure has abated a little bit. And then I look to buy dips on that one there. I'm not ready yet, especially with over half of the open interest rolling off today. I wouldn't want to buy it like right now because you're talking a lot of this fuel that has been supporting Mara is just zapping out of the market today. So Monday options board will reset since it's the monthly expiry today. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking on Mara. Okay. So almost there yet. Not there yet, Juxam, but almost there. Okay, last call out of the day is going to Ali. Ali, data 88 US. Adano, okay. USDT. 88 USDT. That's the one I'm seeing here, unless there's more. Oh, there is. The Kraken. We will go to the Kraken. RIT. Bullish daily. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, it's not... It fades a lot of these weekly rallies, but the structure is pretty good. Yeah, I would probably, if I was going to trade this, I would probably look for my first long around 1.26. somewhere between 1.26 and 133 would be my location, because it's showing a tendency to fade some of these rallies that it gains on the week, this week being no exception. So I'd look for pullbacks into here and let this continue to build. Impulsive corrective, very big impulsive rip, consolidating a lot of this. It definitely found a bid around 85. Yeah, it kept finding a bid around 85. Yeah. So, yeah, between 127 and 133 would be my buy zone. I wouldn't need a big stop on this, maybe 113. And then if we happen to get down here to 85, I think that would be a pretty good steal. That's how I'd trade it. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad. Good structure. A lot of good crypto structures happening right now. A lot of good crypto structures. Okay, so overall, we're going to wrap it up real quick. If you haven't already, hit that like button. We appreciate it. This was all for free. So you're all getting free analysis. This is what my members get, like Monday through Thursday and then Friday webinars. So I hope you guys are appreciating this. I'm not sure we're going to be doing a webinar next Friday. We will, though, on Tuesday. We haven't decided whether we're going to use the new software for Tuesday. We still got to figure out a little bit of a sound issue, but video seems fine. Everything else seems to be going fine today. So with that being said, what was the other thing I wanted to mention? There was something else. Okay, yeah, I don't remember. So let's just go with Tuesday. I'll see you guys live for the stream, the pre-market, the U.S. stock market open. So I will see you for that. Members, I will see you in the private member webinar in 10 minutes. Other than that, I wish you all a great weekend. I hope you guys had a good trading week. There was a lot of interesting activity going on. Coinbase, a lot of options moving, HD, really good stuff going on this week. I think next week is going to be a pretty big week in terms of positioning and activity, because today is the monthly expiry for options on April. That's going to wipe the slate clean. So Monday will probably be kind of like a feeling out day. But then Tuesday, I think, is going to start to move. And so we'll probably be decently active on Monday. But I think Tuesday we're going to be highly active, building a lot of positions for the next month and for the next week. So I'll see members. We'll be sharing you those live trades in the live trade room. Other than that, good luck trading. Have a great weekend. Hit the bid, hit that like button, and I will see you guys in the green. Take care, everyone.